Hello, hello. This is sort of for Ben Rankins. Welcome home. Um, yes, sounds like you had a good time. I was quite envious when I saw that Nick Cave, and I'm not a huge fan of the Fall. I had a lot of their stuff on cassette, but I could never quite get into them. A bit like Sonic Youth. They're just a bit too um, off kilter for me. It's like you either get something or you don't, and I could fully appreciate the value of Sonic Youth and the Fall. Totally, I get it, but personally, it just doesn't get to me. So I'm not against it. I just so good on you for getting those. No, I'm not a metalhead. No way. Probably, if you called two Black Sabbath albums, um, half a dozen Slayer albums, a couple of Voivod albums, um, four Danzig albums. I mean, there's probably a few others I've missed, but I've probably got less than 30 what you would call heavy metal. And I was sort of really into it around, 83, 84 through to 85, including Master of Puppets by a band I can't stand. What are they called? Oh, Christ. I don't like them. Metallica. I think they're dreadful. I actually had Garage Days Revisited EP, which I really like because they did cover versions of the Misfits and things like that, and they did them better. But the only Metallica album I like, or love actually, is Master of Puppets. It's great. If they just made that and disappeared, they'd have a good reputation in my mind. No, I'm not a heavy metal guy at all, but I know people I work with were into it. They were in bands, heavy metal bands themselves, and they continued to. That's all they would listen to. And as they got older and older and fatter and balder, and they go and with to see bands that were doing exactly the same thing, I just thought, I don't know, it's a bit sad, in a way. Like sometimes it's just better to like something at a certain time and still have love for it 50, 40, 50 years later, and occasionally play it and go, oh yeah, I remember, I love this, and but to actually live that is not for me. But I could happily just live with two Slayer albums, the first one and the fourth one. Um, South of Heaven is probably my favourite heavy metal album because it's Slayer doing their thing, but they've actually got almost got a melody and a couple of ballady things sort of happening there, which is pretty good. But anyway, I'm getting off point here. These are the two albums that they're both thrash. Voivod's first album, War and Pain. This is a reissue. My original I gave to my friend, but this one I won't get out of the plastic because it's a beautiful reissue, heavy duty cardboard, just gorgeous. I love this because, and I've got Raw, the follow up on CD, which is sort of an advancement, but it's getting into real full on thrash territory. This is thrashy, but it's not hard to explain it. It's more metal than thrash. It's sort of a bit of both, which is a great combination. Same with this one, Show No Mercy, Slayer. This is my original copy I bought in 83 when I was living in Canberra. So this same deal with this. It's heavy metal with thrashy, heady, but not overly, full on thrash. Like full on thrash is very tiring. Like these albums have got just enough light and shade on them, both of them. Not this one so much. This one's a pretty relentless, walk on the wild side or the dark side, or whatever everyone want to call it. But they're both sort of heavy metal verging on thrash, and that's the way I like it. So just pure metal, nah. Swords and dragons, elves and dwarfs and all that shit. Nah, it's not for me. Not for me at all. But I have huge respect for these bands in that Dave Lombardo is the best, in my opinion, the best metal drummer ever. He's like John Bonham, but for meat and potatoes. Um, but he's the best, in my opinion. The guitars on Slayer are sort of almost hilarious in that there are no real classic guitar riffs or any. It's just the same thing. It's weird. This band is really about the vocals, the bass, and the drums. The guitars are just there to make funny little squealing noises every now and then. Like or something, squeal like a pig. This one, um, the musicians on this and the original band, they're the same deal. They're young guys with good influences that can play really, really well. And these are their debut albums, and I just love them. So that's it. Just something to talk about. But not Stack Waddy, Ben, Stack Waddy. That whole pub rock thing, I had a lot of that, and honest to God, sort of at the time, I did that video the other day about 1974, and I've got a few albums from that year. Yes, there's a John Cale album, and there's other ones, but they're not what I would call great albums. So they were good albums, but there was nothing really outstanding that year. That's why I went back to 64, because I just thought there's not much from 74 worth talking about. But then fast forward another 10 years to 84, and then now we're talking. That's a great year. But yeah, it's what was I saying? 74. 74, I bought a few, like Eddie and the Hot Rods. Um, what's his name? That guy, Bram Tchaikovsky. What band was he in? That British pub rock thing. I mean, the Clash started out as the 101ers, so they were a pub rock band. But I really liked that stuff for about 6 months, and then I just thought, it's pretty mindless, sort of like it's not really new. So that doesn't really stand up to me at all. I haven't got any of that anymore, So 74 was really, so this has turned into a waffle, but 74 is when the Saints, or Kid Galahad and the Hidden Riders of Tomorrow, whatever they call. That's when the Ramones and the Saints were really just starting to, get going. This is before the birthday party, right? You got to remember that. I mean, there's a couple of years, 3 years easy, I think, before the birthday party. So, I mean, that was a sort of a 74, 75 got a little bit better, but 76, bang, back on track. Ramones, Saints, you name it. Got some good stuff coming along. I don't know how we got onto this, but just a waffle, mate. So that's all I'm saying. I love these two albums. Absolutely adore them. They are just perfect representations of that early resurgence of metal after it turned into a turgid. Oh yes, and then also Supertramp. Holy crap! I cannot stand them. Oh my god. God, Jesus, I hate them. A friend of mine, I think he's dead now. He had a few of their records, and oh God, I go around there, and it's all he'd ever play. And he had a turntable that was running too fast. It sounded like it was running on not 33, but sort of like on 36. It was just a beat too, and you know that normally, right, right, you bloody well, right. You know that dreadful song. Well, on his record player, it would be right, right, you bloody well, right. It was actually running even faster, and it was even more annoying. And I'd say, Tony, your turntable is running too fast. And he said, no, it's not. So he was never a guy that was really into music, really. You know, he's just a punter. And he'd just buy whatever was out on the charts at the time. And he just thought it was perfectly fine. But it was absolute torture to have to sit through it. This is just a friggin' waffle. Anyways, what do those devil worshippers do or something? See you later.